Truly, since long before you time immemorial, you have been led astray by the false teachings of false prophets and by priests and all kinds of servants' hands with helpers, who pray to gods and tin gods and bring down calamities upon you. Therefore, many of the priests, of the servants of gods and servants of tin gods have made the killing of your children and also of people of your kind adults appear as pleasing to you, so that you become depraved and your belief in the gods and tin gods confuses you, and they do it so that you may be debased, made dependent, and subjugated, placed in bondage, by the false prophets and priests as well as by the leaders of the godlinesses religions, and sub-godlinesses sex cults, and exploited by them, and they rob you of your goods and chattels as well as of your riches, at the same time as also outraging, committing torture and murder on your blood, body and life, and fulfilling, gratifying their degenerated libidinous lustfulness, sexual perversion, on you and on your children in secret, and they lie that all these terrible things are pleasing to their gods and tin gods, so that they can coerce everything from you and from your children that they want, and if their nefarious activity, villainy, is openly, publicly cried out, known amongst you, then they deny it or fabulate, allege that you and your children wanted it. Truly, it is particularly heinous, villainous, to defile sex, sally, misuse children through libidinous lustfulness. Therefore everyone, man and woman, shall be brought to account for this through severe punishment. And the false prophets and servants of gods and servants of tin gods lie to you that one or another domesticated animal or game animal, as well as other creatures, fruits of the forest, fruits of the water, garden fruits and fruits of the field are forbidden to you, so that you should not eat and drink of them. But truly everything is allowed to you for your provision food, which is edible and drinkable for you and is good, if you do not take any harm from it. Such forbidding, as is taught to you by the false prophets, priests, servants of gods and servants of tin gods, is in truth only a lie and fabulated, invented machinations in order to lead you astray and to strike you down into servitude, bondage of belief, assumptions in gods and tin gods. And do not be foolish, and do not open your sagacious intellect to the lies of the false prophets, to the priests, the servants of gods and servants of tin gods, who deceive you and say that what is flesh of this or another animal and of this or another creature shall be exclusively reserved for the man and forbidden for the woman, or that it is exclusively reserved for the woman and forbidden for the man. Truly, such assertions are lies against the truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal wellspring of all vitalities, creation, and of its appearance, nature, because all things that prosper, grow and live through the appearance, nature, so also all animals and other creatures and all the things that belong to them are equally given for the woman and for the man, so that equitableness, fairness, shall prevail in all things for people of your kind, human beings of both kinds, gender. Truly, it is heinous, villainous, to kill children, whether out of enola genus, out of jealousy or revenge, out of hatred or rage, in strife or on any grounds whatsoever, because the laws and recommendations of the primal wellspring of all vitalities, creation, do not allow the killing of children, and neither the killing of those who have grown out of youth, grown up, except if it is in defense and extremis self-defense, and no other possibility of defense. Self-defense is given, therefore you shall not overstep the bounds, limits of defense in extremis self-defense, and you shall not bring it about intentionally, consciously, so that you will not be called to account, punished. And domesticated animals have come forth for you from the appearance, nature, through the laws and recommendations of the primal wellspring of all vitalities, creation, created in pairs, male and female, such as sheep and the goats, horses and camels, and therefore also cattle, cats and dogs and poultry of various forms, so that they may be useful for you in work and as protection, as well as that you may feed yourselves from them, and nothing is forbidden to you as your provision food. Therefore you shall not lend your ears to the lies that people of your kind, human beings, concoct, hatch, against the truth, namely that you shall not eat from this and that, because consider that those who are lying to you are without knowledge and merely want to lead you into confusion, both you alone and all people. You will find nothing in what is obvious recognizable to you through the truth that is forbidden as food and dry ink, except for animals that are sick and perished, or spilled blood which is unclean, slimy bed, and no longer edible, and no flesh, no blood and no lard fat, of any animals and other creatures is truly unclean, slimy bed, unless it is dangerous for you because of noxiousness, toxicity. Therefore it is permitted to you to eat all the flesh and all the blood and all lard fat of domesticated animals, poultry, and game without exception, so that you do not have to starve for want of provision food, and you are permitted to eat all creatures and all animals as your provision food, which have claws and shoes, hooves on their feet, toes, claws and skin, and therefore you are allowed everything that crawls and flies, and seek out all innoxious things, non-toxic things, as drink and wine and other fermented juices, providing you enjoy it in right measure, so that you do not fall prey to drunkenness. And if the unfair ones, irresponsible ones, the non-righteous ones, conscienceless ones, unbelievers in gods and believers in tin gods accuse, denounce you of lying, that, on the contrary, you are not allowed to eat and drink of this and that, then tell them that it is a complete lie, and that those turn away rigorously from the truth, who are lying in such a way and are leading you and the entire people astray, and wanting to make you guilty against the truth of the laws and recommendations of the primal wellspring of all vitality's creation. And consider those who want to lead you into confusion, and who place gods and tin gods at the side of the primal wellspring of all vitality's creation. They are committing their defilement in vain, because the wisdom of all wisdom creation cannot have any gods and tin gods placed next to it, neither any people of your kind, human beings, who raise themselves up as gods or tin gods, because it is itself the highest heightening sublimity, above everything else in its all-embracing wisdom. Therefore not even your forefathers and foremothers, forebears before them, and your forefathers and foremothers, ancestors, forebears, could place any gods or tin gods or any people of your kind, human beings, next to the primal wellspring of all vitality's creation, just as you cannot either, because in your lowliness you are by no means of its kind. Therefore you cannot illicitly place gods and tin gods or people of your kind, human beings, next to it. However, if you dare in the presumptuousness of a belief assumptions, in gods and tin gods and people of your kind, human beings, to place these at the side of the primal wellspring of all vitality's creation, by praying to your gods and tin gods and people of your kind, human beings, instead of being connected to it, then you are deceiving yourselves and committing an outrage against the truth. And if you commit an outrage against the truth, then you are doing the same as those before you did, because truly, if you do the same as your forefathers and foremothers, ancestors, forebears, did, then you also curse the true prophets and accuse them of falseness, deviousness, so they get to taste your strictness and iniquity and fairness. And if you do such things, then you truly do not have any truthful knowledge that could come forth in you, because you are only following a deception, delusion, and are merely lying. And the convincing evidence that you are behaving in this way is given in that you blame the true prophets of lying and slander, calumny, and attempt to kill them so that they shall be silent and shall not announce the truth. And if it were down to your strivings, then you would force them to say what you want to hear and to act only according to your convenience, volition. But the true prophets do not allow themselves to be threatened and frightened through your embitterment, tormenting, but continue to strive to lead, guide you rightly.